My name is Bernard Kerik. I am the former police commissioner of the city of New York. I was the police commissioner on September 11, 2001.
Mr. Mayor, is there still hope that there are people who are still alive and well?
Yes, there's hope.
In this 13th episode, the truth about the martial arts business is that martial arts schools have to be responsible and careful of the intentions of their students. Hi, I'm John Graden. We are in the middle of a massive disruption of law and order. Gun sales are through the roof, and Google searches for self-defense have spiked off the charts. People want to feel safe and secure. Undercover recordings of the terrorist group Antifa reveal them teaching their members how to gouge eyes, strike the liver, and put innocent people into rear-naked chokeholds. These are dangerous techniques taught by unscrupulous martial arts instructors. They're teaching people how to really abuse and misuse these skills. I have links to clips of this training in the show notes from Project Veritas. That's in direct contrast to when Melody Shuman of Skills' Little Dragon fame discovered that one of the pilots that flew into the World Trade Center on 9/11 had trained in her school in the months leading up to the attack. 1 year after 9/11, I interviewed New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik. He was protecting Mayor Rudy Giuliani throughout that fateful day. He has stories that are just unbelievable. Mr. Kerik is also a 5th-degree black belt in Taekwondo and credits much of his success to his martial arts training. He also has an excellent biography describing his amazing story from poverty to being the nation's top cop. I'm replaying that video because he lays out some guidelines that martial arts schools can use to look out for students who might be abusing their training. I conducted this interview in a hotel lobby in Orlando about a year after the attack. I don't recall why, but we had to speak softly in order not to interrupt some function that was going on. So we may sound a little subdued in the presentation, but I assure you the substance of his advice is stellar. To help you understand what's being said, I will restate my questions in my office here in 2020. Enjoy this landmark interview with the police commissioner of New York City describing what happened on 9/11. After the interview, I have a short editorial regarding the Japanese word kaizen, which is thrown about quite a bit in the martial arts because it means constant and never-ending improvement. I'm going to turn the magnifying glass on the word kaizen and how it applies, or if it does apply, to martial arts.
My name is Bernard Kerik. I am the former police commissioner of the city of New York. I was the police commissioner on September 11, 2001.
Mr. Mayor, is there still hope that there are people who are still alive and well?
Yes, there's hope.
The one problem that we had on September 11th is that we never knew what was going to happen on that day. Our intelligence lapses were enormous. We can't have that happen again, and every little bit counts.
At our recent convention, one of our top instructors, Melody Shuman, shared with us a story that stunned everyone in the room, and there were over 2,000 people at that convention. She explained to everybody that this guy had joined her school and he was rude to the women. He only wanted to learn knife fighting and only on the offense, not the defense. Eventually, they ran him off. It turns out 6 months later, he was one of the pilots in 9/11 that slammed into the World Trade Center. Also, we see videos on a regular basis of ISIS, Antifa, and other organizations that clearly are using martial arts techniques. They have martial arts instructors that are teaching the most deadly, dangerous techniques not to be used as self-defense, but to attack innocent Americans with. What can a martial arts school do to help prevent that misuse of what they teach?
Just like you said, they ran him off. They knew, martial arts artists have some very keen instincts and insights, and I think generally, unless somebody's just a professional con, I think people understand others when they come into the school what they're looking for and why they're attempting to do what they're doing. And the instructors, they have to have dialogue and they have to have relationships with their students. It's absolutely necessary. So they know their backgrounds, they know their personalities, they know their families. I think that's essential because it's good for their business. It brings in additional students. It helps their business. It gives them some insights to the people that they're working with.
You've been involved in anti-terrorism for over a decade. Is there anything in your training that would give us a hint, an attack of the magnitude that we saw?
Not necessarily the magnitude of the attack, but the mindset. The mindset's been there for years. You know, I've listened to people criticize the president over the last year saying, well, we knew this was going to happen. Nobody did anything about it. Well, nobody walked into President Bush's office and said, there's a bunch of guys they're gonna hijack some planes and run them into buildings. That never happened. But, I mean, you would have to be living in the Stone Age if you didn't know that the World Trade Center was bombed in 1993, if the Al-Kabar Towers in Tehran wasn't bombed, if the Cole wasn't attacked, or our embassies in Kenya and Tanzania wasn't attacked over the last 8 years. I think President Bush has done more in the last year to combat terrorism than had been done in the prior 8-year administration. Did we see it coming? We weren't putting all the pieces together. Can something like this happen again? Absolutely. Will it be that big, that great? I don't know.
Yeah. Many of us have seen the documentaries and videos of you and Mayor Giuliani literally running from one safe place to another, at least hoping it was a safe place. You were working your tail off to try and keep him safe when you actually had no idea where the next attack was coming from. What the heck was going through your mind?
Merely to get the mayor in a safety zone. You know, the mayor Giuliani is extremely aggressive. He's very responsive. He was at the scene probably within 2 or 3 minutes after the second plane hit the second building. But he is also obligated to stay alive to run the city. And it's my job, it was my job as the police commissioner to make sure he did so.
Okay.
So, you know, I think in one of the clips, the most public clip, there's a scene where the mayor's staff is telling him, you know, we have to go to City Hall to call the White House. Well, this was only probably within 15 minutes after the attack. I wasn't sure if there were any more planes. I didn't know what the other targets would be. I was really worried about City Hall. And I didn't want the mayor to go to City Hall. I told him we have to go north. We have to get him out of that danger zone.
What was the most difficult part of the day for you?
I guess watching the people jump from the buildings, from the 95th floor, the 100th floor. And I think that evening talking to the families that were, of the cops that were missing.
In your time as the police commissioner, a New York City street cop, and the corrections commissioner for the infamous Rikers Island prison, had any of that prepared you for what you saw on 9/11?
No. I've been in this business 26, 27 years, and I know others that have been here equally as long or more. No one's ever seen anything like this, and hopefully they'll never see it again.
What has the last year taught you about the American people?
If you had to sum it up in one word, resilience. You know, historians will say that every 50 or 60 years you have to do a number of things to, you know, something major has to happen to bring people together. Well, this was it, and they came together strong. They stuck together, the solidarity, the patriotism. It's just proven how strong this country can really be.
In many ways, your career could be described as dealing with and containing violence. And man, oh man, 9/11 was the most violent experience you've had. All of us have had, any of us have had. How has that experience changed you?
It's given me a new perspective on family. You know, I've been involved in gun battles. I've lost some very close friends in the New York City Police Department that were shot and killed. My partner was shot in a gun battle that I was involved in, but I never really thought about my family and my life as much as I did on that day. Maybe because there were 2 or 3 times that day that it was, we had some really close calls, but I think the magnitude of the event, the death, the destruction, everything combined gave me a new outlook on life.
Were there times that day that you really thought, this is it? This is how I'm going to die?
Well, there were a couple times. When Flight 175 hit Tower 2, I was basically standing under it, and the debris and the plane came down around us. And the mayor and I were trapped at 75 Barclay Street when Tower 2 came down. We couldn't get out. That was pretty close.
In the martial arts, we often hear the word kaizen, which is a Japanese concept of constant and never-ending improvement. So are we seeing kaizen in traditional martial arts? When I was a young black belt, I read and was inspired by Shotokan Karate founder Gichin Funakoshi's autobiography, Karate Do, My Way of Life. Funakoshi trained in the popular Okinawan karate style of the time, Shoryu. Yet he made changes and improvements to the system in order to brand and differentiate his new style of Shotokan from the Okinawan karate. Essentially, he wanted to make karate more appealing to the Japanese. That's interesting. I say that again. Essentially, he wanted to make the karate more appealing to the Japanese. Almost sounds like he might be watering it down, changing it for the commercial reception of the Japanese. Who knows? Nearly a century later, I got to ask this important question. Would Gichin Funakoshi be pleased that his Shotokan has not changed or improved? Would he view instructors who insist on keeping the traditional way rather than an improved way as keepers of the flame or sheep? Funakoshi had limited resources to work with, like all the karate masters of the time. Though he was an intelligent, educated schoolteacher, he didn't have any of the tools we have to study and improve our systems. Today, we can study self-defense by watching hundreds, if not thousands, of actual violent assault videos. And we can learn from the greatest instructors alive via the web. There's so much opportunity now to collaborate, compare notes, improve upon each other's systems and skills that just did not exist at the time the traditional martial arts were being created in Asia. Would Funakoshi be pleased that his style has been frozen in time by the generations that followed him? Or do you think would he be disappointed that his followers maintain a focus on the past rather than moving Shotokan into the present? To be clear, I love the Shotokan style. Our kata was Taekwondo, but Walt Bone loved the deep stances and the rhythm of the Shotokan style. They looked a lot nicer, cooler, more athletic, in fact, than the Taekwondo forms. So we still did the Taekwondo forms like Chunji, but it was with a deeper, more Shotokan-ish stance. So I'm certainly not singling Shotokan out. I'm addressing any school that tries to pass off kata and one-steps as self-defense. Both are stylized representations of fighting that are about as applicable as the dance moves in West Side Story. And I love West Side Story. So before I go, let me pose a couple questions to you. And please use the comments or click the microphone on the matapodcast.com page to record your answer for me to use in the next show. Here's the question number 1. How long does it take to earn a black belt in your school? And the question is, why? Next, what does a black belt in your school mean or represent? In other words, a person who graduates from law school or medical school has specific skills and understanding they can apply in the marketplace or in the world or in their life directly as a result of that higher education. So here's the next question. What skills and understanding do your black belts have as a result of training with you? Again, use the comments or click the microphone on the Mata Podcast page to record your answer for me to use in the next show. Thanks for listening, and as always, give us a rating, a review, and share this with your friends who are interested in the truth about the martial arts business.